All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, most important questions in the world of business, inspired by Peter Thiel's game-changing book, 0 to 1. We're talking about why most startups fail. It's a brutal reality, right? The vast majority of new companies just don't make it. So what's the secret sauce? What separates the ones that fizzle out from the ones that truly change the world? Turns out, it's not just about working harder or having a slick marketing campaign. It's about a fundamental misunderstanding of what the goals should even be. So the first big idea we gotta wrap our heads around is what Thiel calls the competition trap. From school, from sports, we're all taught that competition is great. It makes us stronger, better, faster. But in the business world, turns out it's often a race to the bottom, a bloody fight for survival, not a path to massive success. Okay, so check this out, because this is a really key distinction. Most companies are focused on what you see on the left, horizontal progress. That's going from 1 to N. It's basically copying things that already work. If you have a typewriter and you build 100 more, that's 1 to N. But vertical progress, that's the magic. That's going from 0 to 1. It's about creating something brand new. If you have a typewriter and you invent the first word processor, that, my friend, is 0 to 1. And this right here, this quote flips everything on its head. Thiel's point is that capitalism is supposed to be about building up capital, right? But what happens in a market with perfect competition? Everybody's profits get squeezed down to almost nothing. The goal isn't to be the best fighter in a crowded arena. It's to build your own arena where you're the only one playing. All right, so if competition is this death trap, what's the escape hatch? Well, you don't try to win the game. You invent a whole new one. You escape by focusing on that vertical progress, on building what Thiel calls a creative monopoly. Now, when we say monopoly, don't think of some evil corporation crushing the little guy. A creative monopoly is totally different. It's about being so unbelievably good at what you do, so unique, that no one else can even come close. You create a whole new category of value, and because you're the only one doing it, you get to actually capture some of that value you've created. And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. Look at the airline industry back in 2012. They created hundreds of billions of dollars in value for people flying around, but their profit margin was so razor thin, they made, wait for it, just 37 cents per passenger. That is insane. Now, compare that to a monopoly like Google. They captured so much more of the value they created, with a profit margin of 21%. That kind of profit is what lets you take care of your people, invest in moonshot projects, and actually plan for the future. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you build one of these creative monopolies? Well, this is where it gets super practical. Thiel provides a powerful framework, 7 questions that every single founder needs to have a great answer for. So here they are. These 7 questions act like a filter for any startup idea. They cover your tech, your timing, your team, your sales plan, everything. And here's the kicker. You can't just have a good answer for 1 or 2. You need a solid answer for all 7. Otherwise, you're pretty much just buying a lottery ticket. First up, the engineering question. And the rule here is simple but brutal. Is your product at least 10 times better than whatever it's replacing? A little 10% improvement is just not going to cut it. It gets lost in the noise. Think about PayPal. It wasn't just slightly better than mailing a paper check. It was a quantum leap. It took a process that took days, sometimes weeks, and made it happen in seconds. That's a 10x improvement. Next, you've got to ask, why now? Seriously, why is this the perfect moment in history for your idea to exist? Because a great idea at the wrong time is, well, it's just a bad idea. Take Tesla. They didn't just build a cool electric car. They launched into a perfect storm of climate change urgency and, crucially, a moment when the government was handing out huge loans for green tech, a moment that might never come again. Question number 3, the monopoly question. And the secret here is counterintuitive. You have to think small. No, seriously, don't try to take over a massive existing market. Your goal is to find a tiny, specific, underserved market and absolutely own it first. Once you're the king of that small pond, then you can expand. PayPal didn't go after everyone on the internet. They went after a few thousand hardcore power sellers on eBay and became indispensable to them. Number 4 is all about the people. Are you just a collection of resumes, or are you a tight-knit crew on a mission? You need a team that is genuinely obsessed with solving the problem you're tackling. Just look at the legendary PayPal Mafia. These weren't just random coworkers. They were a tribe. They had a shared history and were so in sync that they could weather any storm, which is exactly what every startup has to do. All right, number 5,
distribution. And this is the one that so many brilliant engineers and product people totally forget. They have this field of dreams mentality. If you build it, they will come. But guess what? They won't. You absolutely must have a concrete plan for getting your product into the hands of customers. A great product that nobody knows about is just a hobby.
Number 6, durability. You've got to look into your crystal ball and ask, is my business still going to be standing and defensible in 10 or 20 years? Forget being the first mover. That's often a trap. The real goal, Thiel says, is to be the last mover, the one who makes the final, definitive improvement in a market and then gets to enjoy the rewards for decades to come.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. Number 7, the secret. What do you know about the world that very few people agree with you on? Every massive, world-changing company was built on a unique, contrarian insight, a secret that was hiding in plain sight. If you don't have one, you're just playing by everyone else's rules.
So when you put all of that together, what do you get? The message becomes crystal clear. Stop looking over your shoulder at what everyone else is doing. Stop trying to fight for scraps in a crowded market. The real path forward isn't on the battlefield. It's out on the unexplored frontier, where you can create something new.
And when you adopt this mindset, it's a total game changer. It stops you from wasting years chasing the latest trend. It forces you to think about building something that will actually last and make a dent in the universe. And most importantly, it gives you brutal honesty. Either you have a real, defensible edge, or you don't. So, I'll leave you with the same question that starts every great venture. What important truth do you see that almost nobody else does? Because finding the answer to that, well, that's the first step to finding a secret, building a monopoly, and maybe, just maybe, going from 0 to 1.